Congrats, mate. Must have been a bit of a relief to knock it all over and you're here for another 3 years.
Yeah, obviously it's a great opportunity to stay at this club. We're in a good spot right now and I'm really happy with how the team's going. And ever since I got to the club, I'm an Adelaide boy, so they've always been good to me, so it's good to show the faith and stay for another 3 years.
You're a bit of an unsung piece, aren't you? I mean, you just go about your business and you beat the opposition best small forward each week. Did you attract any other interest from other clubs?
I didn't really look at that outside of the club. Obviously I just wanted to talk within the club first, and they obviously rate me really highly, even though outside it might be a bit different. They value the role I play, so that's really important to me, and I love to stay. Yeah.
Just on that role, you've had a great year so far, shut down some pretty big names. Are you pleased with how you've been playing?
Yeah, but what's more important, it's been the wins we've been getting and me contributing to the team. I think the whole back six has really helped each other out, and it's made it a bit easier for individuals like myself to compete against these small forwards. But obviously the last 2 weeks were a bit disappointing, so we'd like to get back to our first 6 weeks form.
How does the nickname that AC's dubbed you, he's dubbed you the Silencer, how does that sit with you?
I'll take any nickname as long as it's a good one, I guess. No, obviously it's an important role for the team, and I love to do the job for them.
The shut down sort of small defender role, isn't it? There's not a heap of them in the AFL that really stand out, but you're one of the better ones, as all of these boys have said. Have you always done that from a young age? Is it something that you've always taken pride in?
It's probably not. I think with juniors I was going through the midfield a lot, so I never really played that role. And then at Nord I was playing sort of the half-back running role, and then when I came here it sort of developed in that role. Michael Dowdy was really important to that at the start. I just learned off him what he was doing, and he taught me a few things there, and Darren Milburn as well. So that's probably how it started as soon as I got to the club, and yeah, haven't looked back since.
Was it difficult at the start to get into something like that? I know everyone sort of comes into footy wanting to kick goals and have 40 touches, but you've sort of committed yourself to it, and is that difficult at the start?
Yeah, well, I guess when you're coming into the club you just want to impress the coaches and your teammates straight up, and that's the role they required me to do. And I remember early on in training it was just me versus Port Pleasure one-on-one in the 50, and that wasn't the easiest thing coming into the club. But now it's been a great learning experience, and I think I've gotten better each year, so it's really important.
Come a long way from there, 100 games now. You're pretty excited to, get the milestone this week.
Yeah, it's come pretty quick in the end. I think it's 96 out of 99 consecutive, or something like that, 96 out of 99 games. So obviously it's really important to get the milestone, but more importantly to perform on the weekend. I value the role I play for the team, and I wanted to play that role again this week, no matter what number game it is.
Coming off the 2 losses now, do you expect a pretty hard training today? Do you think it'll be pretty brutal?
It won't be brutal. We go things as per usual. We've obviously, the first 6 weeks there's no signs of this, so it's more of a mental state. Obviously there's a few things we can learn throughout training and try and prepare ourselves better for this week. But we've just got to back ourselves in and get our confidence back in what we do best, and that's the contested side.
So there won't be any added intensity, added pressure today in today's session?
I think our training's always intense and at a really good level, so yeah, we're just looking to keep doing that, and we have to do a bit better this week during the game. More on the contested side of things, as I said, the North and Melbourne were really good in those areas and were able to beat us, and we really pride ourselves in that sort of area. So that's something we will be focusing on during the game, but as training, it's per usual, we're really intense with our trainings and really try to get the best out of ourselves.
In the back half, you guys are so good defensively and offensively in the first half. The last 2 weeks, other teams brought a lot more pressure to your defence, and you've turned the ball over a bit. Have you noticed that the other teams are coming harder at you in your defensive area?
Yeah, I guess the last 2 weeks are an example of that. We've had games in the first 6 games that were like this as well, so the Port game was tight and contested as well, and we handled that pretty well. And Hawks, they got on top of us early, but we were able to work our way through that. But the last 2 weeks the pressure has been intense. We just have to handle that better, and it sort of starts at the contested ball side of things. We've been beaten the last 2 weeks, and that's what we'll be focusing on, trying to get our game going and not getting dictated to.
When they talk dictated to, former champions like Ben Hart and even Jonathan Brown at Brisbane come out and said you've got to get more mongrel in your side and get tougher. Is that a fair call, and how do you go about that?
It could be a fair call from judging the last 2 weeks coming from the outside, but inside it's about the contested side, as I've been saying. It's whoever wants the ball first and wanting to get their footy forward will probably win the game more often than not. It's more about forward half pressure these days, and Melbourne were able to lock it in our half a lot of the time and get a lot of pressure on from their forwards, and it makes you jack out the kicks a lot more. It doesn't give you as much time to execute. So in the first 6 weeks we were able to do that. We were able to lock in our half and our forwards were giving him massive pressure and our mids were pressing in as well. So if we can get that going again and getting it going our way, we'll be in good stead.
So how do you get tougher? How do you get tougher this week?
I think it's just a mental thing more than anything. I think we have it there. We have it in spades in our midfield. You look at our midfield, they're all tough guys, they're all in and under, so we just have to get back to doing what we do best.
Hey Luke, with your contract, there's been a number of players who have said that they're going to sort of wait until the CBA's all sorted and signed off before they look for new deals for next year. How did you sort of go about that? Have you sort of put clauses in to account for salary cap rises and stuff like that?
I think every player sort of looks at that sort of stuff, and the club's pretty accommodating with that. I think every club would be throughout the industry, but it doesn't really cross my mind too much. The club have been good to me, and the right deal was there for me to take, and I was more than happy to take it.
Obviously yourself, Wayne Miller, Eddie Betts have some of the players who have signed on beyond this season, but obviously Mitch McGovern and Jake Lever are probably the two names that Crows fans are really keen to see put pen to paper. How confident are you that those two guys are going to sign on for next year?
I'm confident that they're happy with the club and how things are going. Obviously, I can't comment on their contract. I wouldn't have much of an idea what they're going through at the moment. So, but as you said, Wayne Miller and Eddie Betts have signed, so it gives me great confidence that it's a good place to be at, and everyone's really happy where they are. And I'm sure those two will do their thing and it will come along.
Look, that mental toughness you spoke about, how does that switch on and off, and how do you get it back this week after it's disappeared for a couple of weeks?
I guess it's just going back to do what you do best, focus on what you do for the team well, play your role. I think you can go away from that at times if you get a bit ahead of yourself. I'm not saying we have, but obviously Melbourne came with the right attitude and North came with the right attitude, and they had a game plan and they stuck to it. And that's the mental side of things, where you have your game plan, you have your role in your team, and the things you execute well, and that's what you have to do.
So it's more mental than physical, that toughness, you think?
I think so. I think so.
Brownie, a lot of team defence was preached early doors at the club, and it seemed to have worked and got you in a pretty strong position. What did you think? Not often you would have sat there and seen 10 goals and 9 goals go over your head in a row. Could you just give us an insight into what you were thinking out on the ground?
Yeah, obviously the first 6 weeks were a bit more cosy for us as backs. Everyone was playing their role in Team D especially, and it made it a lot easier for us backs to read the ball because it was getting pressured in. But it all starts at the contest. If they can get the clearances or we don't have pressure up the field and we lose contest as backmen, which we have been doing as well, so we're at fault in that as part of the whole team. Then you just lose your way, and then goals are going to get kicked. There's a tough competition, and everyone's really talented. So you have to be on your game straight away, otherwise you're going to get goals kicked against you.
Your efficiency is obviously elite by foot. Even you could hear at the start of the game the other week, a lot of groaning from the crowd, a few errors. Did you feel under the pump as well?
No, as such, I think there were mistakes we could have handled a bit better. I think I made one straight up as well. So it's just a thing that happens in footy. You just have to get on with it. You can't let those things dwell on you too much, otherwise they eat you up during the game. You just have to focus on your next opportunity and try and execute as well as possible.
Do you think that happened? Do you think blokes did dwell on mistakes, and maybe, like you say, if you can't move past and get to where you have to be for the next contest or next position, do you feel like guys were lingering on mistakes they had made?
I don't think so. For me personally, it wasn't. No, it's just I think the pressure that Melbourne brought was really intense, and we weren't able to handle that as well as we should have been. As I said before, we played games where we did handle it well, and we have to get back to doing that. 2
consecutive losses. How important to bounce back hard this week against Brisbane? I know they're bottom, but you still got to make a statement, I guess.
Well, I think the most important thing for us is to play our way. We haven't done that last 2 weeks, and you want to dictate terms and play your game. So that'll be our focus.
Jake Lever play this week?
I think he's a chance. So yeah, he'll try to get through training today, and he'll be assessed on that, and then it'll be up to the coaches if they want to bring him in.
How's it been tracking throughout the week leading up to this?
No, it's been really positive, and he's gone really well at the moment. So we have our main session tonight, and he'll try and get up for that and see if we can get through.
And Troy Menzel as well. What's he been looking like this week?
Yeah, I think he's a test as well. So it just depends if they can get through training tonight and see how they go.